Hey there, welcome back to another video. Recently I was able to reclaim and upcycle a bunch of lumber that was destined to be burned or thrown away. It was outdoor lumber, so I decided to make a quick firewood rack. It's sitting here behind me. Let me show you how I made it. As you can see from the giant pile of lumber sitting in the background there, I was in dire need of a firewood rack. Truthfully, I already had a firewood rack, but it's a little on the small side and I had already filled it up with this one load that we got. And like I mentioned, I was able to reclaim a bunch of materials from home building that's going on in the neighborhood. A lot of these things were just thrown into burn piles and in dumpsters, and I was able to recoup them. The first cut that you saw me make was on a 2x12. It's the only one that I found, so I used that for my base. And here I'm just marking out and cutting these 4x4s that I'm going to use as supports. The circular saw that I was using would not quite go all the way through, so I would cut from both sides. That's why it was important to mark all four sides. And then I would finish the cut with a handsaw. Pretty much all of my measurements on this project were referential measurements, meaning I just used the pieces that I had to measure and make the cuts that I needed. A couple times I was just kind of measuring overall with a tape measure to make sure I had the pieces that I needed, but for instance, I'm cutting this 4x4. These are going to be the feet of the firewood rack, and I'm just using the width of my baseboard as the measurement for how wide to cut them. And you can start to see it coming together now. I'm gonna have one baseboard with 3 of these kind of pedestal feet, just based on the material that I had. Then I'm gonna have a couple of double uprights on either end and end up securing those to the main baseboard with some diagonals to provide support. I'm using outside decking screws for this. These are actually reclaimed also. As I take projects apart, sometimes I'll keep some of them because they're still really good screws. So that's what I grabbed for these, and I just secured everything with outdoor screws. I used a cutoff from one of the big 6x6 leg pieces to prop up the feet so that they would be at the exact height I needed them. I wanted them screwed into my baseboard, the bottom board, level with everything, and this was just the perfect solution. To anchor the 2 upright boards together, I grabbed a 2x4 and secured it at the top of those upright boards. And this helped a lot, but there was still a lot of lateral movement, so I definitely needed some kind of diagonal. I originally tried to use some type of kind of triangular gussets down near the bottom, but it just was not enough support with how wide this thing was. I think it ended up being about 70 inches wide. So I ended up using some 2x4s that are much longer and secured them farther out, and it looks a little wobbly here still, but even as I carried it, it didn't move much. Our backyard is on a big hill, and I did level the other rack that you see here quite a bit. I did not want to do the same thing for this. I knew that if I could get it level enough, even if it went with the hill, it would be fine. So I ended up using the feet from the other firewood rack on one side to kind of counteract that hill, and I was able to get it to be very steady. Then all that was left is to load it up and get it ready for some fires. This is a super simple project, and I wanted to just show that you can build things often just out of scraps. I love being able to do this kind of thing and upcycle these boards that were getting thrown away anyway, and I'm thankful that we were able to put it to use for something that we're going to use often. I'll be doing a few videos about setting up this fire pit area in our new backyard. As you can see there, I've got some limestone rocks stacked up that I dug out of the earth, and I think they're gonna look cool as well as the rest of the stuff we have planned for this area. So stay tuned. Check out the other videos in the series by looking at the playlist. I've got it linked in the description down below. That's really all there is to this quick video. Sometimes you don't need to make more of it. Just make something simple that's useful, that works for you, and move on. Enjoy that you've made something, that you've upcycled something that was destined to be thrown away, and that's really it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.